Everything's hunky-dory. See you. Have an excellent
See you. Thank you.
workshop.
I think I'm live. I think I'm here. Great. Hello, everybody. Okay, customized dashboard, live. I think I'm here. Great. It all worked. Hi, Zoe. Hello. Hello. My name is Anna Bellissima. I am a copywriter sometimes, but first and foremost, I am an extremely powerful magician, as of course are you. And I now spend a lot of my time teaching people how to integrate more magic into their business and therefore, of course, their lives. Sadie, hello. Patty, thank you so much for joining me. I had a couple of people express some surprise that this workshop was going to be free. But of course, nothing in this life is entirely free. So in exchange for allowing you to devour an hour of my life energy and my magic, in return, I will hold you captive while I tell you about a way that you can go deeper with this work with me if you choose to, by joining me on my newest adventure called The Mystery Principle. But for now, shall we get started? If you have not already done so, please light a candle, light some incense. I'm going to light a candle here while we pay our respects to the place where reality is formed, the deities, the holy guardian angels, the elements, every celestial god who guides us and supports us, and to our own genius, the most masterful magician of all. So for the purposes of our workshop, I think it would be useful to have a working definition of magic. Please feel free to add your thoughts. But the definition that I'm working with at the moment is magic is the experience of active participation in synchronicity. It's experiencing participation in synchronicity. And synchronicity is defined as the spontaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related, but they have no obvious connection. So, a simple example of a synchronous experience is that we are thinking of somebody, and as we're thinking about them, we receive a message or a call from them. Sometimes, as you know, you will have experienced more elaborate and multi-layered synchronous events appear over time. I'm currently experiencing a synchronous story around birds and augury, the behavior of birds, and also about the Christian saint St. Augustine. These unrelated events, but with a shared meaning of augury or St. Augustine, keep cropping up in my life. So think about some synchronous experiences that you've had and what it might mean to participate more in synchronicity. So for me, participation in synchronicity means being active in creating it. So like we're doing here today, using magic to create and prompt synchronicity, we need to be active in noticing it, and we need to be actively responding to it. A lovely method for practicing responding to synchronicity is to respond to the things that come up in your dreams. So if you dream about playing with balloons, play with balloons. If you dream about dancing, dance. respond to the symbols and imagery and activities that come up in your dreams in this realm, signaling to the universe that you understand the permeable nature of the veil and your determination to bring things from the dream realm of possibility into the 3D world of bus stops and internet providers that we live in. We also need to note that magic is a technology. The very first alchemists and magicians started a lineage which descends to us magicians today, but also in their lineage are today's scientists. The first alchemists and magicians were proto-scientists, and they were the first people who were working with the process of create a hypothesis, perform an experiment, record the results. And that's exactly what we're doing in magic and in alchemy. It's not something that you need to believe in. You don't need any particular set of beliefs. You just need to be able to suspend your disbelief, to just earnestly and reverently perform your magic, and then stay open to what happens next. Magic always yields results. The results are always unexpected, and we will definitely get the best results from a unified will, meaning that our conscious or our ego and our unconscious, our shadow, are at least unified enough that the shadow isn't going to sabotage everything we tried to create. I still don't have a charger. And I'm slightly concerned about my phone, which, as I said, I wasn't intending to use, running out of battery. So I'm going to grab that and come back to tell you what is a sigil. You've been so patient with me. Please be patient for one more moment. Thank you. Okay, so what is a sigil? A sigil is a magically charged symbol, just like this, and it is a means for creating synchronicity. It's a symbol which, through our attention, our intention, and our magical psychic energy, we imbue it with our desire. We charge it like a battery. Excuse me, I just plug this in. We charge it as we would a battery, and in 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, we can expect to see magic flooding back towards us. My own experience of sigils: I use sigils to entirely reinvent myself. I use sigils to unlock ridiculous levels of self-expression, to find myself deeply embedded in a wonderfully supportive community. I have used sigils to become really happy with my business, to find marketing easy and fun, to manifest income goals, a pony. There's really no limit to what you can create using sigils. So it's a 4-step process, and we're going to be going through it today. So, step 1, defining your desire. Step 2, putting all of your desire into one of these little symbols. Step 3 is forgetting the exact articulation of your original desire. And finally, we're going to charge a sigil, like charging a battery, with creative energy. As well, yes, you can use a sigil in a court case. So coming up with a desire. What makes a good desire? We want our desires to be specific, phrased in the affirmative, so something that is happening, acquiring a good habit, rather than saying I will stop a bad habit. It needs to be something that's possible to achieve in the earthly realm, so you know that there's a mundane means to manifestation, there's a route by which it can come to you. And try saying it out loud so that you can check in with your voice, your heart, your ears, as well as with your just with your eyes from writing it down. So take a moment if you're playing along with me and have brought your craft materials, to think about, I expect you probably have already, think about the desire that you would like to create a sigil for today. I will say this many times through this workshop, don't overthink it. You will make more than one sigil, you'll make many sigils over your lifetime, so getting the exact correct wording for this one is not imperative. Keep it quite short and just write it in capital letters at the top of your rough note paper, and I will do one as well. And the one I'm going to use is, I find bliss in my business. So, I hope you can see, I'm sure it's reversed. I find bliss in my business. At the top of my note paper is the first step in creating my sigil. The next thing we're going to do is cross out all the vowels. So every letter that is an A, E, I, O, or U, cross it out. Some people always ask me about why, what, not why, the letter Y. It's magician's choice. You can, if Y feels like it's an important letter for your affirmation, then leave it in. If not, cross it out. So I will go through and cross out mine and show you how it looks. U-I-E. So here now, you can see I just have a string of consonants. And the next task is to cross out any duplicate letters. So I find bliss in my business. Obviously, there are 2 B's, there are a huge number of S's. I'm going to cross out all the extras, so I'm left with just simply a list of single consonants, each of which appears only once in my affirmation. F, N, D, B, L, S, M, B, S, N, S. So these are all of the consonants that I have in I find bliss in my business. And the next task, I'm going to give you just a minute to finish writing your affirmation and working out which consonants you're going to be working with. And then I'm going to explain about squishing them together into a sigil. The only objective here is to create a symbol. We really, really can't do this wrong. I know everybody says that. It's true. When you land on a symbol or an affirmation that works for you, the task is going to simply be to create a symbol that represents it. Can't be a wrong affirmation, can't be a wrong symbol. The next task is to create a symbol from these consonants. This is the part that people always get very perfectionist about and stumble over and feel like they're doing it wrong because they don't feel like they're artistic. So we're going to squish these together to turn them into a symbol. So a zigzag line can be a W, an M, an N, an L and an H could be part of the same letter. It's just about playing around a little bit, looking at the individual curves and lines and angles and shapes of your letters and finding ways of mashing them together into a symbol that looks appropriately weird and witchy to use. So I'm going to make a start here. I'm going to give us 5 minutes to do this. I'm going to go and get another fucking charging cable because this one isn't working while you make your sigils. But first I'm going to get started on this one so you see what I mean. So my letters are, I've got an F, an N, D. So if you can see what I've done there, this could be the F, and this could be the N, and this could be the capital D, and I will just keep adding to the symbol until I've used up all my list of consonants right here. My beloveds, I will be back in 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, by which time you will have had plenty of time to create your symbol. By all means, cross out, start again as many times as you need to until you end up with a symbol that feels satisfying to you, and then that's the one that we're going to turn into a lovely little talisman like this. I shall return. Yeah, the symbols are made with the consonant parts that have not, the consonants that you have left, the consonants that are not repeated. And again, you really can't do this wrong. You could move your pen around on the paper. Sorry, I'm setting you up on a tripod here. You can move your pen around on the paper while you're thinking of your affirmation, and that will work as a sigil. The main thing is the intention, the attention, and the desire. And I will finish doing mine. F, N, D, B. Yes, Camille, it is completely nothing to do with artistic ability. I like to imagine somebody finding my sigil scratched into the wall of a dark abandoned house, and if it would feel a bit strange and creepy a thing to find, then I feel like my sigil is effective. So this is what I have come up with. It's my first attempt. I'm going to go with it. So if you have, for obvious reasons, so if you have come up with a sigil that you are reasonably happy with, the next step is to transfer it onto good paper, some good paper or card with a felt tip pen. So you've got a kind of version that would not feel out of place on your altar. And I use index cards. I live my life by index cards, so I use index cards for my sigil work as well. The letters can be in any order, Mary. As you've seen with mine, it doesn't read as a word at all. They're all just kind of mashed together. It's entirely Midden's choice. So I'm going to put mine onto some good paper now with a decent pen. Just copy it out so that it can take its place on the altar ready to be charged. And then I always draw a circle around mine. I feel it contains their energy somewhat, just gives the sense of completeness. But not everybody likes circles. If you prefer a square, the Alexandra, the letters don't need to touch each other. It can really be, there are no rules, none at all. Jane, thank you. I'm glad it's feeling right. It's feeling right to me now. Here is my good sigil, and I am going to cut it out now and make it into a little talisman. There is my finished sigil, ready for charging. So we've done step 1. We identified our desire and turned it into an affirmation, and we've done step 2, which is creating the sigil. I like to think of the sigil as origami, of just folding all our attention and our desire into a strange little object. Step 3 is to forget what you wished for, which obviously is far easier said than done, but we have got a hack for that. We have got a way around that, and that is by creating multiple sigils. Now, a very famous magician, Gordon White, who writes at Rune Soup, developed the concept of a shoal or a school of sigils. So like a shoal of fish, where if one fish senses danger or food, then the response of that one fish informs the movement of the whole shoal of fish. And he hypothesized that sigils would work in a similar way, and many magicians have found that they do indeed. So the way this would work would be creating a number of different sigils for different affirmations, based on one overall goal. So these are some sigils that I've made over the past month or so. I don't remember what any one of them means. I can't remember what affirmation prompted me to make this sigil. I know that they are all pulling in a similar direction and creating a shoal of sigils like this. So the idea is that if one sigil starts to manifest, if you make a sigil for something that's very likely to come true, like I will have coffee tomorrow, the power of that sigil will magnetize all of the others to follow in the same direction. And it has the added benefit of helping you to forget whatever the affirmation for a single sigil is, which is obviously harder to do. So, for example, if your overall goal was, I have a wildly successful launch, you might create a sigil to say, I have energy and I have endless energy and determination, or my audience is growing super fast, or I found the dream assistant, my tech works flawlessly. So all of these sigils are created in exactly the same way, and they are all shoaled, supporting one desire. So I will tell you now about charging sigils, which is the really fun part, because we have now a fistful of these weird and witchy symbols. They are already very potent objects, but we haven't yet got them up to full power. The best thing to do is to leave them for a day or two until you have, as I say, somewhat forgotten the desire. What we're trying to do is empty the mind of all thoughts and fill it only with the symbol. Alexandra, I'll let you know what to do with the sigils. Keep them on an altar or a safe place until you're ready to charge them. And so let's think about some ways that it might be possible to empty our mind. As anybody who's tried meditating can tell you that is an extremely difficult thing to do. But there are some methods open to us for emptying our minds of all thoughts but the sigil. So, for example, fear. Taking your sigils with you on a roller coaster or having them to hand while you watch a terrifying movie is one very effective way. Exhaustion is another, so running a marathon and looking at the sigils as you are staggering towards the finish line. Sexual climax, orgasm is a wonderful way of charging your sigils. So at that moment of climax, when your consciousness blinks, you would gaze upon your sigils, and that would send the magic far out into the distant universe, into the place where desires condense into reality. Magical consciousness is another way of charging your sigils, which is the most effective form of mindfulness and being present in the moment that I've come across. And I enjoy the concept of magical consciousness. I talk about magical consciousness and I write about it, so that's a method that I do use when I want to save my orgasms for something else. So I would first use a meditation technique to increase my light body, to increase the strength and power of my aura. And to me, that feels like adding strength to my psychic battery. I would use the middle pillar meditation, described by Israel Regardie in the Golden Dawn tradition. And I also have a meditation which I'm going to send out as a thank you for your patience during this broadcast. So do try that meditation before any magic, in fact. So what I would do is that I would open an altar space with a candle, incense, and a glass of water. I would perform that meditation with my sigils handily nearby, and then after the meditation, I would open my eyes and look around the room and say to myself, truly, I am far more vast and strange than I ever knew. And I think I am dreaming right now. I believe that this is a dream. And far from being a minor player in this story, I am the dreamer of this dream. I am the star, the writer and director of this dream. If you've ever taken psychedelic drugs, if you've ever had an episode of mania, then I'm sure you have a slight advantage at this magical consciousness piece, but I am completely confident that it is within the grasp of everybody with an imagination. It can take a little time to really get into that frame of mind. I know that if I work at it, if I sit with it for a little while, I feel an energetic shift and I start to think, oh shit, I've done it. I've slipped into the dream world and now I'm never going to know if I'm asleep or awake again. And then when I feel that shift, I will pick up my sigils, which I've handily placed nearby, and I look at them with one by one with a sense of awe and wonder, a sense of high strangeness, as if they had been handed to me by an angel or an alien from the future. And I hold that feeling of strangeness and magic for as long as I can while I'm looking at the sigils. I keep going until it makes me shudder, until I can feel past and present and future colliding. And then after the magic, it's always a good idea to do something to ground yourself back into reality. So take a walk outside, eat a good meal, laugh, anything that connects you back into your body and onto this earth and this realm and the world of bus stops and job satisfaction surveys and charger cables that don't work. So before I speak to you about what to do with your sigils once they're charged, let me very briefly tell you about my new course, The Mystery Principle. If you have enjoyed the experience of creating magic today, despite the tech failures, and if you notice that it feels good to you to explore magic, especially over the next couple of days as you create your shoal of sigils and charge them and experience the clues from the universe, that the universe has heard you and is responding to you, then you will want to keep going on this journey with me. Alexandra, don't go, we haven't finished. The Mystery Principle is an invitation for that. It's 7 lessons, I'm reading my notes. It's 7 lessons, we're covering a lot of ground from basic principles of magic and alchemy, all the way through to, we'll be meeting the spirit of money, we will be contemplating creation and destruction, and surrender. And there's a lot of information on the webpage about it, which I will send you all, have no fear. But please do also message me privately if there's anything at all that I can answer for you. I do intend for it to be a fairly strong dose of magic for the novice magician, and it is certainly not for those who feel squeamish about creating altars and making petitions to deities who aren't in your religion of upbringing. And while I'm pretending that it's all about magic in business, it is actually all about transforming and evolving ourselves through magic in business. So as for what to do with your sigils after they have been charged, magician's choice, again, you can leave them somewhere where you will see them. You can leave them on your altar. You can stick them, round about the place. I had a sigil. I wanted to see more speed and power in a particular area, so I created a sigil and I stuck it onto the wheel arch of my car. And I imagined that as everywhere I drove, the wheel was charging the sigil with energy. And after a surprisingly long time, the sigil flew off and landed in a hedgerow somewhere. Sorry, nature. Other sigils I have behind in the kitchen where I make coffee. I have this one, which has been stuck on an oracle deck forever. I don't know what it's stuck with. I dread to think, but that one is staying there because it reminds me that my magic is generative. I have no idea what it's for. Once the magic starts to come to you, once your sigils start to manifest, I recommend burning them. Some people have said to me, why wouldn't you just keep the sigils hanging around forever? Like, if you made a sigil for every day as a good hair day, why wouldn't you just keep it forever so that every day forever could be a good hair day? But my response is that it's really important to recognize when we have been given what we ask for. We can always make another sigil for the same outcome, but when we see the universe respond to our petitions, I feel that it's only polite to recognize that yes, that my overall outcome did manifest, and thank you for that, and therefore I discharge these sigils, and they are done. The magic is in the symbols, but beyond the symbols, the magic is in your intention, your attention, and your desire. So you can create any shape or symbol and charge it, but you could also charge your phone. You could charge the glyph of a planet. You could charge your business logo as a sigil. You could even charge a glass of water and turn it into a magic potion and drink it. You can do a dance and make that be your sigil. The magic, I believe, is in spending time in that state of desire, creating something in the 3D world that represents your desire, and then introducing the elements of wonder and unpredictability and play. Opening your mind to the idea that the more intentional we are about imbuing meaning into our lives, the more meaning we experience, which after all is what gives so many of us a sense of happiness and fulfillment and passion in life. So once the sigils are made and are on your altar or on your car wheel rim or wherever they are, your task then is just to stay open and stay alert and be always looking out in your peripheral vision for the breadcrumbs and the clues that the universe has heard your call. And look for messages everywhere. In the song lyrics you hear through the window of a car passing by, the symbols that show up in your dreams, words that keep jumping out at you, numbers that you see repeatedly. Stay open, and remember, as I said it right at the beginning, the way your desire will manifest will be different to what you imagine. It will be different to what you imagine. And that, my beautifuls, almost concludes today's workshop. I'm having a look to see if I've missed any questions. I don't think I have. But if there are any questions or reflections, I would love to hear from them. Stephanie asked if I would talk about hypersigiling, which I'm happy to do now. So I'll just give we've got about 10 more minutes left. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of hypersigiling. Please put any questions, reflections, or comments so that I can respond to them. Hypersigiling is another extremely effective way of predicting the future. As I think you probably have got a sense from the past 50 minutes, is that the magic, performing magic, is is energy work, and it's about moving your energy. In magic, if we can move our energy towards another person. If we're healing, we can move our energy back in time to heal the past, and we can move our energy forward in time. So, and also, of course, to alternate realities. But for a hypersigil, we would purposely, so we would do the maybe the light body building meditation that I mentioned, and then we would purposely transmit our energy forward in time, 2, 3, 5 years, to a time where all your wildest dreams have come true, all your magical wishes have manifested, and you are living your perfect dream life. And then you will start to journal with the prompt, the day I took Anna's sigil magic workshop changed everything, and life was never the same again. And then you would write out the story, or one possible story, about how your life today became your life in 2 or 3 or 5 years' time. And you can perform this exercise once, twice, every day for a month, with a number of different strands or different scenarios describing the opportunities that came to you, or the people that you met, or the magic that you experienced. And that is what hypersigiling is. The pony is a lesson to everybody to please think of a time scale on your magic. If you are manifesting something that you dearly want, just make sure that you are able to receive it now. Sadie, can you or should you have more than one active shoal at a time, or is that considered greedy? There is no such thing as greedy. Your desire is a beautiful thing which is teaching you about yourself. The universe loves your desires. Your holy guardian angel loves your desires. Make as many shoals as you want or need. Sky, I can't see the comment now, but Sky, I think you asked if you could make a sigil for someone else. I have been asked this before. You can make a sigil for somebody else, but we have to just always keep in mind that everybody is ultimately and entirely responsible for their own fate and what they do and do not wish to receive in life. So while the sigil will certainly help, particularly if you can create one which pertains in some way to your interactions with that person, then it should manifest. However, if you were creating for somebody, if you were creating happiness for somebody who is determined to stay miserable, for example, then I suggest that the mundane means to manifestation, the route for the magic to come in, would be somewhat more blocked and more difficult for the magic to come through. So I hope that has been helpful for you. Thank you so much, my friends, for joining me and for your patience as the magic broke the internet. I ended up having a really good time. It wasn't great at the beginning, I'll be honest. And if any of you want more of this, more magic, more high strangeness, please get in touch and I will take care of all the rest. Any questions at all, send me a message. You are intelligent people and know exactly how to reach me. And I send you all my love and magic. Isabel, I am going to send out links to the course. You will see them everywhere. Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Sky. Thank you all for being here and for your patience. I love you and thank you.